All right, all right, all right. Transparency in the chair, let me tell you, has nothing to do with hair, but stories that derive from the chair.
My name is Rae. My co-pilot is Kay. We are two hairstylists with over 50 years of combined industry experience, ownership, platform artistry, salon education, and mentorship. We are both two sages that have stories to tell.
All right, and you know how juicy it can get. It could be any chair. Think about any chair that you sit on. There's a story in the chair.
With authentic and transparent moments, we are bringing you the juice to you, along with our perspectives, of course.
This is what we're bringing to you every week with confidence and knowledge and nuggets that you will leave this podcast with so much inner feelingness, so much knowledge, so much power, empowerment. So tune in every week and we're going to drop the nuggets on you with special guests from time to time. So don't miss out. Join in to Transparency in the Chair.
It's been a minute.
It has. I'm excited.
What to do with it? How are you doing? We have a special guest today, people.
Ooh.
Yes, I'm so excited. I can't stand it.
Oh, I know. Chris.
Let's introduce first.
This is the National Sales Director, Chris Durham of Primerica Life Insurance. Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes, we're going to make life insurance fun and exciting today.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we are glad to have you. And today's topic is...
Why are we using chicken dinners and GoFundMes to secure our future? Like, why?
Why?
Make it make sense.
Why? Like what people say, oh, I don't have insurance. I have blessed assurance. No.
Right. That's
Right,
not
that's
it.
two different things.
That's two different things.
It is, right?
You can't do that. You can't do that.
And especially in our community, I'm over it. Because I personally, the amount of fundraisers I've had and posts like, hey, can you help this family out?
Right.
And blah, blah, blah. I'm sick of it.
You're done.
I
All
don't
right.
like
Well,
it.
hopefully Mr. Durham can get rid of some of these fears and phobias that we have. And I don't know why, but you're right. Every time something tragic happens, we're trying to sell fish dinners to get them in the ground or selling T-shirts and stuff, and enough is enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, Mr. Chris, you could start us off in this. It's such a big subject because people are so...
It's huge.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'll say for me, and then I was lack of knowledge on crazy things, just like, I didn't know what the difference was with whole life and term life, you know?
And then there's universal life.
And then didn't know any difference. So then people were selling me stuff and I'm sitting here having the wrong policies, just lack of understanding, getting stuff in the mail like, hey, it's going to expire at this time because every year I'm getting older. So then now it's like, hey, the maturity date. And I'm like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, before we get in lost with term life, whole life, universal life, variable life, paid up life, juvenile life, urban life.
Life sentence.
Right. Before we get caught up in all the lives, well, let's start off with any life is better than no life, right?
True.
Any life
Facts.
insurance is better than no life insurance because people passing away with nothing, and then the spouse calls you and asks you about a policy and it lapsed 6 months ago. I mean, anyone would have worked. In a lot of cases, most cases actually, people don't have life insurance. It boils down to three reasons. They don't see the need for it, don't think they can afford it, or haven't got around to it.
Okay.
And so we ought to haven't got around to it, people.
Right. And on top of that, I have, I've been talking to people lately, because I'm seeing more and more people are dying around me.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm saying, hey, why don't you have insurance for the people who don't have children?
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel it's necessary. They're like, I don't have any kids, so I don't need it.
Right. Well, I mean, primarily, we do teach our clients the purpose of life insurance is to replace your income. So, I mean, there's grown people with spouses and children and mortgages and car payments and everything with no life insurance. That's a disaster.
Yeah.
But just like you're saying, people with none of that, they still need life insurance, too. They got to be put in the ground. They're going to have affairs that have to be taken care of. All that stuff's not just going to disappear out of their apartment.
Right.
Somebody got to take care of that stuff.
That's true. And so that's my good, because the afterlife, somebody has to take care of you.
Right.
They have to put you down, right?
Right.
And so how do we even get started? Like, some people don't even know what to do, what companies to pick, and, who, what, where, what to look for, how does that work?
Well, I mean, you could start off, obviously, recall me. That'll help.
That help it all.
That'll help always. Chris Durham.
Right.
Find me on any social with that.
Okay.
But let's say, in our experience, people can, they grew up in houses like I did that were basically financially illiterate.
Okay.
Like I grew up in a house with a lot of love and no money. We didn't talk about life insurance, all the statements I got. I saw my mother get with bills. So we weren't talking about assets, life insurance, anything. It was just kind of day to day. So we just got to kind of change our mindset to get out of day to day and start thinking about the future.
Okay.
So can I make money from it?
Absolutely, you can make money from it. We want to teach people how to buy life insurance and accumulate assets, mutual funds, IRAs, retirement accounts. I mean, people can start saving as little as $25 a month. I mean, if you have an income, hopefully you can get $25. Squeeze $25 out of it.
Right. So for me, I'm just being transparent. At first, I didn't know what is a mutual fund? How's it going to benefit me? What does that look like? IRAs, all that. I was clueless. Like somebody just said, hey, you just need to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
So can you break it down like in layman's terms?
Yeah.
What the difference is?
Well, let's say if I was a business owner, I would start off, all of them should have an emergency fund, in most cases in a money market account. The next level up would be a Roth IRA if you qualify, which 90% of the people do, which has pretty high limits, especially if you're a married couple, that you can put away $1,000 a month, which would set you up great if you did that over a 15 or 20-year period.
$1,000.
Yeah, for both people.
I might have $100. Can we work
I'm
that?
saying the maximum, not the minimum.
Okay.
Right. The minimum is $25.
Okay, so at least $25 a month can get us
Get you started, yes.
Okay.
It's absolutely easier to increase something you've already started. Most people just never start.
Okay.
So we can get them started as we in position to grow.
Okay.
And the younger you start.
Oh my God, let's not even talk about that.
Yeah.
It's based upon your age and your health. As far as life insurance, how much money you have to retire is based upon how long you do it. So the earlier you start, the better chance you have for sure.
So if I got into a jam and which like would I need like a term life to get the money out? Is there a certain one I would have to
term
have?
life doesn't build any cash value, so no need to call Primerica to get some money out of your policy. That doesn't work. We want you to save your money or invest your money in mutual funds, and you just call the 800 number that's in your check. So you don't have to borrow with it. Accumulate and you have access. No, accumulate and you have access to it.
What?
And which one?
Click. That's in a mutual fund.
I just want to make sure the listeners, they get it.
It's a voluntary savings program. You can increase, decrease, start, stop anytime you want to. You're not contractually obligated. You don't have to borrow your money. You just click, redeem, and tell them what account you want to go to.
What? Okay, so it's like, are there like advisors to say, hey, like say if I came to you and I said, hey, I want my money to start making money for me, right?
Right.
So then would you say, okay, Kay, this is what we suggested you put money into, or is there some kind of
absolutely.
Like how does that work? Because I'm clueless on what's going on.
Absolutely. That is our job, to find out what your goals are, because everybody's situation is different. Their debt, your income, your mortgage expenses, children, your spouse, household taxes. So it's a few moving parts to it. It's not that complicated.
Okay.
And once you kind of get I guess the main thing is just settle on a budget. You can't spend all your money and expect to have any to invest. You got to pay yourself first. And that's probably where most people drop the ball, because they want to pay themselves after they pay their bills. And usually after they pay their bills, there's not much left.
Right? Look.
That was some good stuff.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty. Yes.
Okay.
So pay yourself first and then.
Yeah, it's something called an automatic millionaire. So if you can have, an automatic millionaire, just invest your money on a bank draft. Most people have a bank draft for car payments, mortgage payment, car insurance, all the bills on bank draft, but you don't have yourself on a bank draft. So if you put yourself on a bank draft, you got money coming out of your check, and just like you're paying whoever your car is financed with, you can pay yourself a check every month.
That's true. I mean, and definitely if you're self-employed, you're supposed to do that anyway, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what would you say about the person that says, I just can't afford it? Like, how do we convince those people that, yes, you can? Well, do you go over like, okay, this is my income, my bill, like, how deep does it get with working with a company like yours,
Well, at a minimum, like I said, if the minimum is $25, the minimum to get a life insurance policy is $15. I mean, if you have any income, hopefully you can squeeze $15 out of that.
You can lose $15 in a month.
I mean,
that's
honestly,
that's a kid's meal.
Right.
So you would probably agree. Typically, it's mindset. They can afford that, but they just haven't prioritized that.
Right.
So all the other stuff they want to do at the brunch and the happy hour and the this and the that comes before their future.
Right. So it's not as expensive as I thought.
Right.
I could definitely make me some money, and it could set me up for retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. in a lot of cases, we teach people saving for retirement may not work, but investing for retirement always works. Because if you're saving, all you're going to have is what you put in there. But if you invest, your money's growing.
Right.
That's the best chance you got.
Oh. Right. So I have a question. What do you say to the person that says, well, when you die, all the bills going to be erased anyway?
Well, I mean.
They think that. Yes.
Right. Well.
And some of it.
Well,
some of it's true.
You ain't got to worry about them calling you. Anyway.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But people didn't understand. It goes to the next of kin, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like if you're married, your spouse is kind of.
Well, if your spouse, if their surviving family want to have a roof over their head, somebody got to, assume this mortgage payment. If they want to drive that same car, somebody got to assume that car payment. If somebody wants to have that same lifestyle, it's going to have to be some expenses that are taken care of by the survivor.
Right, to maintain those things.
But a single person with no spouse, what happens to their car payment? I don't know. I'm not prepared to speak to that. I don't know what happened to that, actually.
I can speak from experience. I can see a transparent moment.
Okay.
Well, my mom passed in 2020.
Right.
And she had just got a Jetta. And I politely called the people and said, she passed, you can come get it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, because it's not going to mess up your credit.
I mean.
Right. That's what I was thinking, but I didn't know.
as long as nobody co-signed for the car, it was her name only.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I would share, though, is that where she had her payment set up through the credit union, since they financed it and they got wind of what happened, they took her little $2,000 she had in one of those little accounts and they politely applied it. I'm like, damn.
Wow.
So it was like, if somebody passed, go get the money that day. That sounds crazy, but listen. As soon as you start running your mouth, and don't call them crying, because I'm telling you, I know I called the credit union. I didn't even say. It was like, oh, so why, like it's like they trained to listen to something that I said, like a key word, a trigger word.
Right.
And I was like, no, I was just asking, they was like, they're finna push the button.
Right.
So I would advise anybody, just go move the money till you figure it out, because they did. They garnished that two little thousand she had put away, and they applied it to the balance. But the rest of it was forgiven, obviously, because I didn't want to keep the car. Nobody had license in my house yet. So y'all can come get the little Jetta. Come get it. They did. They politely came over there with a little tow truck, took the Jetta on back.
Well, setting up a survivorship or a beneficiary on your checking account and savings accounts and all that, a lot of people don't have that, though. So getting that money moved not easy to do.
Yeah.
What? So you can do that, too? I didn't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because somebody got to go get it.
Yeah,
they ain't gonna let it,
on death, so it can be transferred to someone else.
So I need to go talk to the bank about that.
For sure.
So, how young can you be to get life insurance? Like on your children and stuff? How old, is there like an age limit or something?
Well, we typically recommend you add your children on a rider on your family plan for your policy, so you wouldn't have to buy individual policies on your children. Just invest money, open them a 529 plan or education. That? It's a custodial account where you can have a mutual fund set up for a minor. Okay. So you could just basically set up an account for your kids and not have to pay taxes on it.
Really?
Something like that is way better than buying an insurance policy for your kids.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to make money, if you want a death benefit, maybe the insurance policy, but if your money growing is the priority, then do that.
Then do a 529.
Right, exactly.
On your little...
Right, sir, because there's two different things. A death benefit is one thing, and your money growing is something different.
Okay. Got that? Got it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have a question. Okay. What's the difference between, or I would say, what are the advantages of having a universal versus a term or a whole? Or do you recommend one or the other?
Absolutely, positively. Our philosophy, we teach our clients about term life insurance and mutual funds. I am definitely not the universal life, index universal life, infinite banking guy at all.
Okay.
Basically, the main disadvantage is, one, on an index universal life insurance policy, your money grows and you can borrow out of your policy. Mm-hmm. So the marketing phraseology is it's tax-free. Mm-hmm. But in insurance policies, it's only tax-free as long as the policy is enforced. So just as long as you die before, before the policy lapses, it's tax-free. Okay. So the presentations are basically understate all of the features of the policy.
Gotcha.
So it's only tax-free until that policy lapses. If that policy lapses, any earnings you withdrew are taxable.
And that's on universal?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
A second thing, with universal life, it's no limit on what you can put on there. So I agree with that. Well, the maximum for a Roth IRA is $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, depending on your age. Married couples can put away $1,000 a month. Most middle-income families I know are not putting away $1,000 a month.
Right.
So why would you do the universal life, or why would you make that a selling point when that doesn't even apply to 90% of the people?
Right.
Now, if you're a high-income business owner and you've already maxed out your IRA, then maybe IUL may be a good an idea. Or if you have you make too much to qualify for a Roth IRA, so maybe an IUL might be a good idea. So I'm not saying 100% of the time it's wrong, but in my opinion, most of the agents selling it, the clients would get that person's situation, a term life insurance policy, and a mutual fund would be much more suitable. The key word is suitable, not just what they're selling.
So whole and universal, they're two different things.
Right. In term life. So
whole is what?
Whole life insurance is a permanent contract. It does guarantee you a death benefit till you're 100 years old. So they're going to be more expensive. So term.
Oh, really? Why?
Yeah, because part of the premium you're paying is paying for the death benefit, and part of it is going to the savings element. So you got to pay more to have two things.
Okay.
So you're paying for two things, a death benefit and a savings.
Okay.
So instead of combining those two together, we're just saying buy term life insurance and mutual funds at the same time. So let's be clear. I'm not saying that a term life insurance versus whole life or universal life term is always better.
Okay.
I'm not comparing that.
Okay.
That's the argument. I'm saying term life and a mutual fund spending the same money is better.
Okay.
Got it? So we teaching people, in my opinion, how to get the most for their money,
right?
Not debating on what insurance product is better, because they're different.
Because term is the term.
Right.
So
only provides a death benefit.
Right.
Yeah.
So say, is it there, like, say if I live to 90, do I still have this policy? Or does it mean like, okay, at 75, my policy's gone?
Well, no,
you're
right. It's guaranteed renewable for the length of the initial term period. So let's say if you get a 30-year term, you get it at 40, it's going to be renewable at 70. At 70, you can renew it for another term. The premium is going to be more. That's just based upon your age. So let's say if you have a 40-year-old that wants $500,000 policy, if they buy a term life insurance policy and they're in good health, keyword good health,
right?
You won negative doctor report from being uninsurable. But let's say you're 40 years old, you're $500,000, term policy is going to cost you $50. You can invest $200. You do that over 30 years, and you're going to be self-insured and financially independent. Versus you put $250 a month in a whole life or index universal life insurance policy, you are marrying your future to that insurance contract for the rest of your life. Whole life has a limit on what your death benefit is going to grow to. An index universal life, you got to borrow your own money, and the cost of insurance goes up inside of the policy. That reduces the savings. So you don't mix the two together. It's really not that complicated.
Yeah,
it just sounds.
But most people think it is. That's why they shy away from it though. Because it's like I don't understand that. I don't know what they mean. I got this with my job and I'm good.
Right.
With, I got this little policy.
Even with that, let's just say, okay, because I hear that a lot. Oh, I already have insurance at my job. If I leave the job, then what does the policy still go on? Or
well, in reality, statistically, 8% of African American Black families ever have received an inheritance. So that means 92% of us don't leave nobody nothing.
Fact checker.
Fact checker on the block. That's a big
can see you the statistic. I'll see from somewhere.
That's huge.
AARP website, I think it is. Yeah.
That's
only
huge.
8%. So for all these years, 92% of us, we don't leave our families anything. And then one of the reasons is, with life insurance, we said earlier, one of the reasons you don't have it is you don't see the need for it. You don't see the need to own your own because you feel like you have it at work. Well, they're providing the coverage while you're there, is what you were saying. Yeah, but you're not guaranteed to die sitting at your desk. You know what I mean? Different circumstances that happen between.
Right, if the company closes, blah, blah, blah.
It's unlimited.
Yeah.
Right. It's just, lack of responsibility.
Right, so you do recommend.
You don't want to spend the money. Right, absolutely. Own your own policy. What you have at your job is a benefit that they provide.
Right.
When you leave, you need to own your own assets.
Because I hate when they say that oh, I got $10,000. That is you can't even get buried with $10,000.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like in real life. Seriously, you
Yeah.
can't.
Well, you know, we tie our whole life up into the benefits of their job. We don't have any assets outside of our job. A 401k is all the savings that we have.
Right.
The life insurance is all the life insurance that we have. We don't, you know, it's just a mindset.
And then if you're self-employed, then what?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because then there's more
Hello.
I think then just this generation is more entrepreneurs now more than ever, you know, in life. So they definitely need to get on board, and they don't think about it. At least your job, if you're in corporate America, your job's going to say, hey, you know, got this little policy, sign this and blah, blah, blah. But as self-employed people, that's like the last thing on your agenda. You're not even thinking about it. You know, for me in the hair thing, listening to my clients over the years, it's like, oh, yeah, this is a need. This is necessary. So then I'm like, all right, let me get into it, you know? Even like for my son, I'm like, you know, how do I make sure? Because I don't want him to have to go to work. You know, I might not qualify for financial aid. Like, so how do I get the monies up for when he graduates from high school or even in senior year? Can I get some money out to pay for the whole trips and the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah that they have?
Right.
Yes?
Right. Well, yeah. So, and in a lot of cases, it's just out of sight, out of mind. You know, if you're a self-employed professional, you focus on your business. Yeah. You focus on your clients, all the other responsibilities and the fires you're trying to put out every day. Right. So, thinking about how much money is I'm going to have left over. So, once again, the solution is the automatic millionaire. You got to have yourself on a bank draft, just like everybody else. And if you do, you put the money there, and that's the best chance you got, really.
Right. Now, I will say it does come a point in time in life where your priorities switch over. You know, in the beginning, you're young, you're making all this money. I'm talking about the self-employed people right now. You're making all this money, you're doing your trips and stuff. Then the shift happens where you start your family or you start having kids, and then now you start thinking, oh, all my money's not mine anymore. I got to feed this little person and da-da-da-da-da. Right. And then when they start going to school, then you start thinking, oh, about the future. And it's like now that I'm in my 40s and late 40s, I've been thinking about retirement for the past 10 years. Like, what is that going to look like? I hear a lot of people talking about Social Security is trash. It's not going to be available when we get there. Well,
you can't even live off of it.
We ain't signed up anyway. So, you know, like as a self-employed person, it's like, what are you going to do? So my mindset started changing years ago. Like if I need X amount of money to live now, you know, with inflation and interest rates going up, it's going to be even more crazy when it's 2030, you know, in those years. So I started trying to plan ahead for those years because I see a lot of people, my clients, a lot, that's what we see, starting to condense as they get older. Oh, because I can't afford this no more because, you know, I retired now. So I got to either checking receipts at Walmart on the weekend to, you know, make ends meet. Right. And then again, I saw my mom go through that. She retired from the post office 30 years, but her retirement still wasn't enough. And, you know, she made some good money at the post office. Right. But she had to go work at a daycare to supplement. Right. So it really got me looking like, dang. And so you wasn't ready? You know, like, so she was like, no, I got to do this because, you know, I don't want to lose my house. I'm like, what?
Yes.
And with us being self-employed, like, we ain't set up for nothing. So, so those thoughts start changing. Right. And you got even the, what is it called? The pre-need at a funeral home. Right. You know, go set your pre-need up because you can get burial prices at today's prices versus 30 years from now.
Right. I did that. Yeah. I did. And also, because seriously, I'm like, I don't want my life insurance policy to be ate up. And then some of these funeral homes now, they don't even want to honor it until, they're like, no, we still need the money. We need the money. We don't want the policy. We need the money.
Hold Miss Betty body until you come pay.
Right. Absolutely. Just like you said with a term policy, at the end of the term, you're going to renew it. In a lot of cases, be less. But if you go ahead and get a pre-need separately, there's no rules that you only have one. Right. You can get a pre-need. There's no rules that it's the only thing you have. Right. Yeah, so you get a pre-need. And also, you can just have other assets. Hindsight is 20/20. So you guys are, been in the business for a long time. Right. I think I saw the podcast say, 50 years of experience.
That's right. Yeah.
It should be a line out the door taking notes from you guys.
Right. Thank you
experience.
For that.
Right. Seriously. And I really felt like it was definitely a need for you because I think this is a subject that is not talked about enough because, and then people are actually scared to say, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
That part.
You know what I'm saying? And because of that danger of I don't want to look like I should know because I'm an adult. Right. You know?
You don't know.
It's like, so do you do classes or something just to say, hey, listen, I'm going to educate you people, especially in our culture, because it's such a lack and deficit in that area of retirement and, you know, the benefits of having a policy and putting your money in. Because isn't it kind of like sheltered or hidden or protected from, you know, taxes and stuff or how does that work?
Well, the goal, I would agree with what you're saying 100%. Financial education is the key. And if a person doesn't know what one insurance policy from another, don't know a mutual fund from a mutual friend, don't know what IRA stands for, right? Every statement they ever saw come to their house was a bill. So they typically are not going to be set up for success. So they're going to have to. And we have a book called How Money Works that has 10 chapters of financial principles.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, 10 chapters of how money works, pay yourself first, time and consistency, get out of debt, avoid the debt trap, setting up accounts, all of that stuff. And it's free. It's on our the realhowmoneyworks.com on our website. You can download it, the realhowmoneyworks.com. And all of the basic principles of it.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
So what you want the people to know?
If you want to be on the show or you have a show idea, email us at transparencyinthechair@outlook.com, or you can visit our website at transparencyinthechair.hair. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, but watch our full episodes on YouTube. Transparency in the Chair, y'all. Let's get transparent.
Put all your stress aside and let the music take you anywhere like tide. Cause it's me they calling the real loco. Mass play when I on the floor. Gal bend over and touch their toe.